So now I think I have everything up and running. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today I'm just sitting here and crocheting away a little bit on this shawl that I've been working on for about a while now. And I just wanted to hop in here for a little bit and hang out while I crochet. So grab a coffee and just hang out, you know? Hello, Brett. How are you today? You were fast. Do you have a coffee? Or do you prefer broccoli smoothies? Do you hear any like background noise from outside? I'm not sure how much of the, trucks and stuff outside is noticeable if my microphone picks it up. But occasionally I hear vehicles just outside. And the window is open, so there is room for improvement if needed. You're going to bed. Hello, Winter. How are you today? It's been a while. Good. Good, good. And I can still count to 7, apparently, because that's all I've been doing in this shawl, so good to know I can count to 7. You just woke up? Had any morning coffee yet? Well, not soon, about an hour. Time to go pick up the little one. So I have a little bit of a time here, so just enjoy myself and the silence. I've been watching live streams from bed in the mornings before. Usually I find Dawn having live streams when I'm still in bed. It's a nice way to wake up. When you're not able to get up and crochet yourself yet, you just watch someone else crochet and chit chat about yarn and other fun things. I'm still really deciding on what pattern to jump into next. I can't make up my mind, but soon I have to decide. Because I'm starting to feel a little bit stressed on time. Even though I probably shouldn't be stressed out, it's just that I have an idea and then I want to stick to it, but I have backup plans. So I don't really have to worry about the baby blanket and the pattern. I'll figure it out. Oh, nice. Lost shows are... That's fun. Are you making both in the same color, or are they going to be 2 different colors? Well, that's weird. Is that a good or a bad thing that you can't change the quality? I usually never do change, so I don't know how those settings work. I just go with whatever settings is already there, you know? Yeah, if the quality is worse, then yeah, I can see that that's not the best. I'm working with rainbow now, even though it's a totally different pattern, but I have rainbow yarn. Yep. See, I don't have a lot left. It's a little bit of the blue and purple, and then it's just all purple at the end. But it started with reds and it's almost an orangey red. It's not a pure red. It's more of an orangey red, and then it goes into the oranges and yellows and green and blue and the purple. Basic pattern. 2-row repeat. Easy enough to just, you know, not have to think, really. Next pattern I do, I will have to think a lot and count and whatnot, because that's usually how I do with baby blankets, intricate, detailed ones. I like those. Just a couple of patterns to choose from, and I can't pick which one. At least I have the yarn picked out. Takes a little bit off, you know, the whole thinking process. Yeah, I figured with this one to just let the yarn speak for itself with the easy pattern. And this is the next one I'm using. So I already have this one figured out. Just needs a pattern for it. I have 2 of this one. It's the same yarn as this one. It's the Sultan Deluxe. 100% cotton yarn. And you're doing it in worsted? It should be a decent size, right? Sounds like it's gonna be nice and chunky. I'm really loving how these colors are turning out. At first, I wasn't fully sure. Like, I really loved the beginning. And then this, like the transitions from the red to the yellow, these are really like seamless. They really, like, you can tell where there's changes between the yarns. But here it's really, you know, a smooth transition. But when I came to where the green comes, you really can see the change. Because you go from the yellow and orange to yellow and green. There's no solid yellow in between, and I don't know if I wanted that, but it just threw me off at first. I wasn't sure if I was gonna, you know, like the look of it, because it just felt like a harsh line here, or harsher. It's the same here where you go from the red and orange to the yellow and orange. Of course, it's a little bit of a sharper edge, but you can't see it as much as it feels like you can see it here. And then the big jump from the green yellow to the green blue, that isn't as harsh as this one here still. This one feels more of a fade, and this feels like a color change. But now, as I'm looking at it, it looks a lot better than it did at first, because I was just like, oh, it's so gradually, and then it just like happened. And now it just feels like it's working together with the other colors. It's color 33 of the deluxe rainbow gem, I think it's called. I can imagine it's cozier with a thicker yarn. I've only done lost souls in thin yarns, I think. Nothing really chunky like a worsted. I should try that just to see how it goes, or like the difference. And with thicker yarn, it's probably working up really a lot faster as well. I don't know why I'm sticking to all these thin yarns. It takes a lot of time. I could most likely get a lot more done in a shorter amount of time if I'd used thicker yarns, but I'm so loving the drapes and feel of these thin yarns. So it kind of feels worth it, even though it takes forever. Yeah, I can imagine that. Do you sell all your stuff in the same place? Is it what are you using to sell? Etsy? I'm always so curious. There's always a lot of people just lurking around in the shadows that doesn't say anything. It I would love to know, who's lurking in the shadows. If you're too scared to say hi, then maybe you could at least give me a thumbs up. Do you think Etsy is good for selling through? Like I've never used any online thing to sell stuff. Well, I do have the Ravelry and One Pattern, but I've only heard that Etsy charges a lot to use their service. It's just it's hard enough sometimes to sell stuff. Just feels like if they're taking a lot of money for using their service, it's, the profit is even less, if any profit. The broccoli man is lurching in the bushes. Hello, Seal Sky. Nice to see you. It's a name I recognize. I most likely might have seen you in someone else's live chat, maybe? Yeah, I think a lot of people are frustrated about Etsy taking such a big chunk. It's not fair. But hey, I guess it's easier than trying to sell, by Facebook Marketplace or something else, I guess. Yeah, I think I recognize your name still. So I must have seen you somewhere. I'm happy to have you here. So I know Winter is still in bed. What is everyone else doing? Brett is, as always, a busy bee lurking in the bushes. And it's kind of pretty obvious what I'm doing right now. Crocheting away on this rainbow shawl. I'm really happy about how these colors are. They're really happy and bright. There's so many different rainbow type yarn cakes, and some are more pastel and some are more just faded, and this one feels definitely not washed out or anything. Really colorful. So I'm happy about this pick. I had not tried this yarn before, this one. Oh, this color. I have been working with the same yarn before, but toddler blanket and dishcloths. Yeah, that's fun stuff. I'm going to make a baby blanket in, well, I do have a kind of a deadline. Baby shower in late August. I just need to figure out the perfect pattern, which always is a little bit of a hassle. But I do have the yarn picked out. It's this cake here. It's the same type of yarn that I'm working on, both of them, the deluxe cakes. This is Paraiba Tourmaline or something like that. Loving these aqua, turquoise, mint green colors together. They make a really slow, nice fade. And I have 2 cakes. My plan is to start center, work my way out, and then on the next cake go from the outside and work my way in to get like a really nice fade. I could also cut at each color change and work the 2 cakes side by side, so I make one big gradient, but I hate cutting cakes. There's a reason I have a love for these cakes, that I only have to, tie off the start and the end of the cakes. Sewing in yarn tails is not my cup of tea, so I'd rather just go from the inside out and then outside in. Is that lazy of me? I don't know. Hopefully I will have more baby blankets to make soon. There's a lot of, people in my age that is, they're trying to have babies, and we're just keeping our fingers crossed that there's more babies coming soon. But yeah, right now I only think there's one baby that I'm aware of that's here soon. But who knows? There might be other friends that is not ready to tell yet. You never know. And I'm also thinking I need to figure out the perfect yarn for a shawl. So I do want to make a shawl, and I know that I don't have yarn for it, but I have so much yarn at home, so I can't really justify buying new yarn. But if I find the right yarn, I will have to buy it, because it's for a very special person, for a very special reason, and I don't have anything in my stash that would work. But I can't figure out the right colors or the right yarns. I haven't found it yet. So even though I don't need to yarn shop, I might soon. You know how that feels? When you don't need it, but you want it. Available for babies. Yeah, okay. I don't know how I. Are you saying that you want babies, or what are you trying to tell? You need someone to make babies with? Or. Oh, you're like me with the wool. I have noticed that I can work with wool for a little bit while taking like allergy meds, and my hands always itch like crazy. But I push through if I really need to, and I've noticed that sheep's wool is okay, I guess. Alpaca is, oh my god, I can't even touch it without starting to feel all ooh. I have a big wheel of alpaca that I want to make a big shawl out of, and I just want to make it, to say I've made it. I will have to be popping pills and probably sit outdoors or something to be able to breathe while I do it. So, yeah, that's not going to be fun. But yeah, alpaca is not working with me at all, and wool is more doable. I haven't figured out yet if like pure sheep's wool or like merino, or like if there's a difference between those. But alpaca, that I cannot handle very well at all. Well, sweet dreams, Brett. I don't know what you're gonna dream about. Broccolis and babies? I don't know. I have two monsters, and I would probably have more babies if it wasn't for the fact that medically it's a risk. And I think that my better half is pretty happy with what we've got, even though the oldest is not his, but the youngest is, well, not biologically his, but yeah, the younger one is, she's a handful. So I don't think I would be able to talk him into more kids anyway, because she's all over the place. But I had some complications in my first pregnancy, and then I've had a miscarriage, and then I had, the second kid. Um, and both of them are C-sections. Um, but the first one was more of it wasn't planned. I was induced, and then it ended up in an emergency C-section. And then there was a complications and stuff after that. So the doctor told me now, when they had me all opened up, when my youngest was born, that um, they could not recommend me going through more pregnancies. And if I would ever get pregnant, my body might cope with one more pregnancy, and I would be putting myself at risk, because my uterus is too fragile. It's so scarred from before. It's really thin, so I might not be able to carry to full term, and it's a risk of everything just bursting, which is not what you want to hear if you want to have more kids. So we came to the term that it's not worth losing. It's too much of a risk. So we're not going to put ourselves in that position. We're happy with what we've got. And I have one of each. And they're a handful. So it is what it is. It might not be what I wanted or what I planned or anything like that, but you know, you just have to come to term with the hand that you're dealt. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And then you smile. Lemonade is good. But it was kind of like a grief process to, you know, it's not my choice. It's just what something that happened to me, or, you know, I didn't get to decide that I didn't want more. I might not want more anyway, but it's just like I didn't get to decide. So that kind of makes it a little bit frustrating at times when people around me are having kids, and I was like, yeah, I wouldn't mind another one when they're small and cute, and then they turn into terrible twos and they're all over the place. But they're cute when they're sleeping. No matter how old they get, they're cute when they're sleeping. So at least that's something, right? Yeah, my oldest is 12. And the other one's 3. All over the place, like kids should be. With bruised knees and barefoot during the summer in the grass. You're not cute when you sleep. I don't think I'm very cute when I sleep either, but occasionally there's, you know, pops up pictures from someone taking pictures of me when I sleep, and there's like, oh, you're cute when you're sleeping, and I don't agree. But if someone else sees cuteness in it, then whatever. That's up to them. But I think kids are more cute when they're sleeping. Maybe there is a limit to, like, you're not cute when you're sleeping after 40. I don't know. Is there a deadline or something? I think it's as a parent, you always think your kids are babies, even if they're like old. Yeah, kids are expensive. That's for sure. I don't snore. I've never heard myself snore, so I don't believe I snore, but some people say I do snore. I don't believe them. I do know that I have been like biting my teeth in my sleep or grinding my teeth. Um, I can, yeah, I can admit to that, but I don't snore. Because no proof, I don't snore. It's like pics or it didn't happen, right? Or if it's not on Facebook, it's not real. Like relationship statuses and whatnot. No proof of me snoring? I don't snore. Yep. I'm sticking to it. So what time is it where you're at? Since you're still in bed, Winter, I'm guessing it's fairly early morning, or did you sleep in today? Yeah, I don't really use Facebook a lot. I never really post on Facebook, but I go on there to see what everyone else is doing. So I know people are like, oh, you never use Facebook. It's like, I might not be posting on Facebook, but I see what everyone else is doing on a daily basis because it keeps me entertained. I just don't take part in all of that. Occasionally I, comment a little bit, but that's about it. So you guys are really early. It's almost 3:30 um, in the afternoon here. Well, I wouldn't have guessed anything else. Of course, you're in a Skinny Puppy Facebook group. You love Ogre, so I could not imagine you would, not be in a Facebook group if a Facebook group existed. I have a bunch of like crochet groups I'm in, mostly to just, get inspiration and occasionally ask a question or answer some questions. But yeah, that's about it. Oh, he recognized you from the Facebook group? That's funny. So he's also in his own Facebook group, or like the Facebook group about his own band. Of course. I'm not sure every band or like if they're a part of their own like fan groups or fan pages. Some of them feels like, big bands have big egos and they're too good for certain things, but it's nice if they hang out. Yeah, I can imagine they don't really have time to read everything or like to interact on everything because they have a life too. Writing songs, going on tours. Okay, the tour bus might be boring, and I guess they should have time to keep an eye on stuff during that time, travel time. If they're not just sleeping or writing new songs. I've never really imagined myself being like in a tour bus type of situation, but I can imagine it being kind of boring after a while. But I could appreciate, sitting in a vehicle when someone else is driving and crocheting away. So I could probably see myself in a tour bus style setting if I don't have to drive and I have plenty of yarn and hooks. I don't think I would mind the whole, on the road again. A yarn bus tour. Wouldn't that just be awesome? I have no idea what type of tour that would be, but or if anyone would, you know, who would you meet? Would you go from city to city and just sit on town square and crochet for 3 days and then go to the next city? This type of pattern that I'm working on, this shawl that is only like a 2-row repeat and you don't have to think about it a lot. And this is the type of pattern I work on when I'm in the car, not driving. So as a passenger, I definitely have something like this going, but we usually don't go very far. The furthest on a fairly normal basis we go is like a 30-minute drive. You don't really get to crochet that much in 30 minutes, but I keep it with me. Or, something similar to this. Like easy, fast, easy stitches, don't have to follow a pattern. Easy to just put down, pick up. I even have, it's the most basic thing ever, but these cakes fit really good in these Ziploc bags from IKEA. You can see that this has been with me for a bit because it's a bit wrinkled up, but it's just a, even says IKEA. But they fit one cake perfect and a hook and a little bit of space for whatever I'm working on. So I just take this Ziploc bag and I can put it in a bag or in anything really, but it's like my on-the-go setup. So basic. But if it's raining or anything, it's in the plastic bag and it's protected. I don't really have to think about the yarn catching onto something else either. And it doesn't matter, like, am I taking, well, before it was a diaper bag, and sometimes it's just another bigger bag. So it's just easy for me to do that type of thing because I don't have the same bag every time I go out. And sometimes you need, you know, a certain amount of items with you. Sometimes I just basically leave the house with the wallet and my phone and set of keys. You don't need a big bag for that. In those days, I basically just carry the Ziploc bag as it is. I don't even put it into anything. I just take it as it is and set it in the car. A dishcloth sounds about a decent size to have in the car. I don't do a lot of dishcloths. I don't know if I should. Maybe. I'm just so busy with all the other things that I want to make and that I'm making and whatnot. Winter, did you see the other shawl that I more or less finished? The pink and black one, or red, pink, black one? Did I show you that one that I made for my aunt? I don't know if you were here when I showed it. I don't remember. I'm guessing Steel hasn't seen it, so yeah, I'm gonna take it down either way. It's still attached to the yarn. It was... I have a little bit left. Nice to having you here, Steel. I need to basically deal with the yarn, or like, you know, sew in the yarn ends, but I'm pretty decided on that it's finished. I wasn't 100% sure, that's why the yarn is still attached. Oh my god, it's a mess. Okay. But here it is. Reds into pinks into the white, gray, and then black. Oh my god, there's so much stuff here. I don't have enough space. But yeah, I wasn't really fully sold on the edge part at first, or like, I don't know if it feels too basic, but I'm loving the wavy shape. So I've decided that this is how it's going to be ended. So I'm going to block it and then I'm going to ship it to my aunt that she's, I don't know how far she's gone through with treatment, but she has it's going to be surgery, radiation, and chemo. So I figured, you know, something to brighten up her days. Definitely makes me happy, at least, these colors. but I didn't want too much black, but I want it big, you know? And this is Twister, and I did use one full cake of Twister, and then to get all of this black, it's actually, well, I didn't take a lot of this one, but I used one full Twister solid black and then a little bit of the center here, so I wouldn't say it's even a half cake. I used maybe 1 1/4, maybe 2/3, I don't know. But blocking, sewing in yarn ends, and then packing it away. Well, I need to take some pictures of it, of course. The Ceylon tea pattern. Really loving this pattern. It's the third time I make this pattern. So, it's finished. Oops. Don't want it to hang down from the shelf all over in my face. Do you think you used the same type of colors or just similar ones? Because that's the Twister cake, that's the darkest of them. There is 2 like pink to gray variations as well, but that's the more red to black. Or did you use a totally different yarn? Because I know you have quite a lot of Hopi yarns. Just like me, it's easy to get kind of stuck on certain yarns. And I bet you have other pretty yarns as well, but yeah. Well, Yarn Art Flowers and the Twister is basically the same cake. They're just sold by different companies, manufactured in the same factory, and different color variations between them. It's the same with the yerbo cookie from Hobby, the big cookie cakes. You can find the same yarn being sold at least in 2 other places with other names and a couple of different color variations. And yeah, they do get different names as well. So it might be basically the same yarn. I'm not very familiar with yarn art because I don't know if there's anywhere I can really find that yarn here. I really like how these rainbow colors are working together. You know, the colors are really bright in the beginning, but the green isn't that like really bright, or like it's not a dark green, it's more of a apple green. So it feels like this is light and it goes really dark with the blue and the purple because it's not a dark green. And I really appreciate that it feels like it's going from light to dark like this. Have you posted any pictures of your lost shells that you've started on, or you've not gotten that far yet? I haven't been in on Instagram really recently, so I haven't. I can't say I've seen them. Oh, okay. I'm just thinking, like, if you really started, you know, before you went to bed, you might not have posted anything really, so just curious. So you will soon post pictures of the full products, then I'm taking it. I'm curious, can you hear the cars outside? Because it feels like they're really noisy. Well, there's not always cars outside. It's a country road, but, you know, every time I hear a car, it feels like they're really noisy. I'm just not sure if it's noticeable. Yeah, I have the window open, so it's good to know that I might need to have the window closed if it's, you know, too noisy. But at this time of day, it's not really a lot of cars. It's going to be worse in about, I don't know, half an hour when people start to get home from work. It's always a lot of traffic after 4 because that's when most people get off work, or, well, it starts after 4. I had some thoughts before about, you know, sitting in my backyard and recording or live streaming, but I realized that that's going to be even more noisy. Indoors, a lot of the sound is hopefully, um, you know, more in the background because the road is in my backyard. Or like on the other side of my backyard, but yeah. I think you know what I meant. Yeah, that sounds like it could be quite of a noise. I live in the countryside and we only have a little gravel road outside here, but it's traffic enough. They've built a lot more houses further up the road. So yeah, it's not really lessening the traffic, if I put it that way. Just feels like it's more and more traffic, and they just drive faster and faster. And more dust is falling into my backyard. Kind of annoyed about that, but it is what it is. There we go. I finished this round, and looking at the time, it's 3:42 p.m. and I should get ready to go and pick up the little one. So this is what I got to do today. More purple and blue. I think there's gonna be a next color change will be more purple but still blue, so I'm not fully at solid purple just yet. Yeah, I can, if I take a sneak peek into the cake that's still standing, there is a part here where it's more blue and then there's less blue here. I think you can see that, the difference. So very close to the next round. And then we're going for full purple. Yeah. It's always fun to see that these cakes still stand even though they're like more or less nothing left. But I really appreciate the company today. And I hope you have a great day whenever you get up and not have morning coffee. I have to get out in the sun. I can't sit and be a vampire all day because it's really hot outside. It's really nice weather. It was raining in the morning, but now it's hot, and whenever I'm finished here, I'm gonna turn the AC back on because it's really getting hot in here, and the AC, that is noisy, so I can't have that on at the same time because you'd be, not hearing me at all. It's like a wind tunnel or something. It's just so noisy. But I think I'm not the only one having a little bit of, issues with ACs or other things making noises, fans and whatnot when it is hot. So I guess you just have to suffer for the art, right? I want to share this with you guys, and I just have to suffer in the heat. Yeah, that sounded bad. It's not that bad. I really enjoy talking a little bit about yarn and hanging out and hearing what everyone else is doing, so it's all fine. But yeah, you have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you back here soon. So thank you, and bye bye.